go ahead and begin. Okay, here we go. All right, guys. So we are going to start standing. So we're just going to come right up to standing this morning. We're going to work on hip strength and flexibility, and also helping to keep the knees really healthy. Okay. So as well as keeping the spine flexible and toned. So we're going to start with the feet either together or apart, whichever one makes you feel most stable. So if together you feel a little wobbly, then just separate your feet like that. Okay, so whatever works for you, but do your best to make sure your legs are right next to each other and one's not more in front of the other. Okay. So we're going to press the feet down, and you want to make sure you're not more on your heels than you are on your toes. So or more on your toes than your heels. So just kind of start to feel like your weight distribution forward to back of the feet, and try to evenly spread out your weight, right foot, left foot, front to back, and on the outside of your foot and inside of your foot evenly on each foot. So just do your best to be on the big toe side, the little toe side, the front side where the toes are, and the back side where the heels are. So just start to feel that, feel that, feel that. And then what I want you to do, and you might have to bend your knees to do this, is press your calves forward. So you're not back like this, because usually people push the knees back, and that's why we get knee problems. And the knees should actually come up. So I'm going to have you push your calves forward and see if you can lift your knees up. So it stops you from doing this push. I can't really do it too well, but pushing back of the knees, which a lot of people do, they just kind of lock their knees, and it helps you to strengthen and keep the knees really healthy. So again, you're pushing the calves forward and trying to lift the knees up to strengthen the knees rather than pushing the knees back. Okay, so we're going to use that for all of the extended positions of the knees. So whenever the knees are not bent, we're going to try to move the calves toward the shins like that and lift the kneecaps up in any position that we're doing where the legs are straight and not bent. So we're going to open up through the arms and keep feeling the feet and feeling the calves and feeling the legs and lifting the chest and lifting the chin and breathing in, breathing out. So you can either look up if you can, if that's okay for your neck, or look straight ahead. But make sure your head is not dropped forward in front of your chest. So if you're looking straight ahead, make sure your neck is aligned nice and strong. As you're feeling your feet, you're feeling your calves, you're feeling your knees lift, and you're lengthening your chest as you inhale and exhale. I'm going to bring that right hand to the right hip, right to the pelvic bone, and press your right hip bone against the left one and push the left one against the right. So I want you to make sure that the hips are not going out to the side. You're squeezing them together as you lengthen your spine. So you're breathing in and breathing out, and let your shoulder relax, especially that right one. And let your head go back a little bit more. Your neck goes back, turning your chin and breathing in, breathing out. Now take this left arm and move it to the wall behind you a little bit more, toward your backside. Just keep it straight, but move it toward your backside. Keep reaching over to the right, but toward your backside. And then reach up again when you're ready. Inhale. And when you exhale, spread your fingers and bring that left hand to your left pelvic bone, left hip, and move that left hip against the right one. Move the right one against the left. So I want you guys to keep pressing your hips together. Keep feeling your feet, your calves, and your legs. And keep pushing the hips against each other as you lean over and reach over as far as you can and lengthening your spine. So again, don't let your pelvis sag. Don't let your lower back sag. You're going to keep it nice and strong. And then reach the head back a little bit more. And then reach this arm to the wall behind you, but keep reaching it to the left. Okay, so we're inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. All right. Release and bring both hands to the hips. And we're going to work on this today, just seeing if you can feel where your pelvic bones or your hips push toward each other. So it's like you're narrowing your hips. Okay, so you're not rounding your back or anything. You just keep them engaged and feel that alignment. And your knees might bend a little for this forward fold, but you're going to keep the legs strong, and you can do a little bit of bend, but keep those hips as you come into this forward fold, keep them pressing toward each other and breathing as you do this, pressing into your feet. Now, again, you want the calves to be moving forward and your kneecaps lifting. And then if you can, let go of your hips and put your hands together behind your back and pull the arms away from you. So keep pressing into your feet as evenly as you can. Keep pressing your calves forward, the knees up, and let your head drop as you reach the arms away from you and lift your arms over your head. So keep letting your head drop as you inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. All right, let's release the hands to the ground at your yoga mat and step back into downward dog. So you're gonna reach back and push your fingers right into your mat here and press your toes into the mat and stretch the heels down. And again, as you're doing this, you guys are pressing your calves forward toward the shins and the kneecaps up as the heels come down. See if you can open up your back ribs a little bit more and the scapula against the back, throat is open. Inhale, exhale. And just find your breathing as you reach your forehead down to the mat, right underneath your belly button. So I want you to really stretch the spine a little bit more. Stretch and lengthen the neck. And then come forward onto the hands and knees. So you're going to drop your knees down and just turn your fingers here. Turn your fingers and press into the wrists and the fingers and lean back a little bit. Press your shins into the ground and lean forward. And do that a couple more times, just really working through the wrists. And I'm going to have you get to a place where you feel the stretch at the wrists and then just kind of circle the wrists around one direction. Circle the wrists the other way. And then release. All right, shake out those fingers, open, close them, round through the back, just try to lift. Now, as you're doing this, I want you guys to squeeze your hips toward each other. Okay, so this is going to be our kind of thinking today. And keep the hips squeezing toward each other as you open up and inhale and stretch your belly a lot. Like really lift the forehead and move the shoulder blades against the back. Let's try that again. You're going to hug the belly in and keep your hips nice and strong toward each other, right to left, left to right. Keep them engaged toward each other as you open up into that cow pose. Stretch your belly. Okay, we're going to do that one more time before we get into our hip mobility. And into that cow pose. Keep those hips really, really strong. All right, so we're going to come into neutral spine. So your spine is nice and straight and strong. Your hips are pressing toward each other, which means when you lift your right leg, your right hip should not come away from the left one. They should still be parallel. They should still be side by side. So do your best to lift that right leg, hug your hips toward each other, lengthen the left arm, keep those hips nice and strong, and stretch open the belly and the chest. Stretch open the front of the hip and the thigh. Inhale and exhale. And then bring that hand down, bend the knee, and bring your knee out to the side and up towards your shoulder. Squeeze your glute. And then extend it back. Inhale. Keep your hips nice and strong. Bend the knee out to the side. Lift it from the floor as high as you can and up to the shoulder. And then release it back. 2 more times, you guys. Keep the arms strong. Bend the knee out to the side. Lift it as high as you can from the floor, up to the shoulder. Keep pressing to your fingers, not your wrists. And 1 more time, keep those hips nice and strong. Tuck that knee out to the side, lift it, and pull it. All right, now you're gonna extend it, tuck the knee in, circle the hip around for 3, 2, and 1. Reverse for 3, belly strong, 2, and 1. Bring that knee in, round through the back if you need that little stretch. If you think you were dipping too much into your spine, press into your fingers, not jamming into your wrists, and come into that neutral spine again. Okay, so hips are pressing toward each other once again. Shins are anchored to the ground. We're going to stretch that left leg out as much as you can, making sure your hips don't drop or misalign, and taking that right arm up. And you're going to just keep feeling your hips strong, shins strong. Breathing, 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 you guys. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Bring the hand down, bend the knee. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Knee out to the side, up from the floor and toward the shoulder. Keep your hips strong and then extend it back. Keep the arms straight, chest up. Do that again. Knee out to the side, up, open, and press back, back, back. And do that 2 more times, getting a little higher, a little stronger. Pick the knee up, out to the side, lift, stretch it back. 1 more, you guys. Up and out to the side, lift, and stretch it back. Now bend the knees, circle around, Just a few circles at the hip joints. Keep the hips strong and go the other way. So we'll circle the other way. Cracking at my hips. All right, so we're gonna bring the knees down, open the knees up, keep the hips strong, reach the hands forward. You're gonna go back a little bit like child's pose, but not all the way. So I want you guys to pull your arms forward as much as you can. Lift your back ribs toward your skin. So feel like your back ribs are lifting up and feel your shoulder blades push downward. And as you're doing that, you're gonna pull your hips back. So you're gonna pull your back into a stretch. So I don't want you guys to just kind of like lean back and fall. I want your arms stretching forward and you're pulling your hips and your spine and you're lengthening your head downward and forward to the floor. As you breathe in and breathe out, really feel that breath. So your belly coming in and out is really going to help your nervous system to settle into the stretch. Inhale and exhale. All right. And then when you're ready, we come forward and up into downward dog again. We're going to keep the hips really, really strong. We're going to press the calves downward, but also forward against the shins so the kneecaps can lift up. And we're all going to stretch that head down as much as you can. So lengthen your spine. And then ripple the spine forward. We'll come into upward facing dog or whatever feeling you can get for this. If you need to modify, put your knees down. But pull your legs back. And I have my feet flexed for a few just to squeeze the toes. But then flip the tops of your feet and drag your body forward a little bit more and pull your legs back as you lift. Keep those hips strong. 2 and 1, come back into downward dog, reach it all the way up and back, and take your right foot forward, right? So right foot forward, ground your back foot, and come on up. Yeah, all right, so we're gonna be in warrior 2. So let's again, hold the hips. So put your hands on your hips and make sure that they are right side by side. One is not more forward, or one is not higher or lower than the other. So do your best to keep aligning the hips as you breathe in and breathe out. Stretch open the arms. Keep the hips aligned while you turn your head to the right. And breathe, breathe, breathe. Keep your back nice and wide. I'm going to bring that forearm to your thigh here and take that top arm up. And so we're going to get into this kind of diagonal position just for a bit. Just feeling your hips. And just keep feeling the hips aligned and lengthen your spine, open your throat. And then you're going to slide your arm down if it works for you. Otherwise, you stay right where you are and go deeper into the inner thighs. While that back leg pulls, your hips still stay strong as you can make them. And keep going down without sacrificing your alignment. Inhale and exhale. And then we rise up. All right. Turn your feet in the direction you're facing. And again, press your hips toward each other as you come down. This is going to encourage your feet, to go to where they default, but you're going to try to keep them even. Keep your hips pressing toward each other. Keep lengthening your spine. Bring your hands to the ground or keep them at your hips. Pressing your calves forward. Lift the buttock and keep the kneecaps lifted. So keep feeling your hips narrow toward each other. And then bring your hands down if it's okay, or use the yoga blocks. Or if you're at home and you have that chair in front of you, you can put your hands on the chair. That works too, okay? Now grab the outside of your elbows here and just let your spine descend with the strength of the hips. And the knees are not bowing back. So again, calves forward, kneecaps lifted, hips strong, and then let your head and your elbows just drop. Breathe, breathe, breathe. All right, we're going to bring the hands back to the hips, narrow them in, extend your head forward, lengthen your spine, rise up, rise up, rise up. Turn that right foot again and turn your pelvis and your hips all the way to the right. So you're going to keep turning your pelvis and keep them side by side. So if you have to adjust your back foot, you're going to do that. But keep the hips locked in with the ribs, reach the arms out, lift the heart, and breathe. So feel your back leg is straight, your front knee is bent, and feel that back calf pressing the way it should and that back kneecap lifting as it should. As you breathe in, breathe out. Lock your fingers together, turn your palms upright, and just see if you can stretch a little bit more at your fingers and at your wrists, and go into a back bend a little bit more without changing the hips. stretch your belly, and then release the hands down, and we're gonna come down into downward dog. All right. So we're gonna come into that downward facing dog and breathe, breathe, breathe. And we do the same on the other side. So your left foot's gonna come forward and we'll rise up into warrior two. All right, looking good. Okay, so as we come up into warrior two, align your hips. So use your hands or whatever you need to feel that one hip might be a little higher. Don't look at the knees or the leg. The leg might unbend more or something like that when you get the hips correct. So I always want to make sure that the pelvis is in the right place and we don't have any shifting there. And then we work at the stretch at the hips from there, because the back will kind of give out to fake the stretches, right? So we want to keep opening that knee, but keeping the hips aligned and then stretching through the arms. So your hips are not only aligned with each other, but they're pushing toward each other right through the body. So you're going to keep the hips aligned as you turn your head to the left. And inhale, exhale. Keep that back leg straight and strong, calf and everything. And then bring that left forearm down and stretch over. So we're going to come into this stretch, into this little diagonal position. So this arm comes up over, yep, just like that. Keeping the hips nice and strong. Keep breathing in, breathing out. And if you want to go deeper, you bring this arm down to the ground or the block, or you keep it where it is and you just go deeper into your inner thighs. Just try not to slant your hips. And just keep breathing deeply. Inhale and exhale and rise up. All right. This time we turn the feet forward. Okay. And we're going to actually turn one foot out to lunge to it for an inner thigh stretch. Okay. So again, you're holding your hips to make sure that they don't slant. And you can go all the way down if you want to kind of come forward, make any adjustments so that you can come down into your hips. Just make sure that your hips stay aligned, right, as you're in this. You can stay at the previous one up high, or you can come right down a little lower, stretch that inner thigh, lift this foot if you're down here and turn, breathe, breathe, breathe. And we're going to come up and start in an up position as we go to the other side. So we come up, you pull your hips together, you don't let your hips slant and wobble around. You're going to come out into that side. Right, feel that stretch. And again, you might be like, this is where I'm going to be, and you feel the stretch and the hips stay aligned. If you want to go a little lower and grip the ground and get you down there, just make sure the hips don't slant around as you're doing it. And again, one side might be more in need of staying up than the other. If you're down and the hips are nice and strong and you can let go, I'm going to hold on still. And you're going to lift that foot up and turn it. And breathe, stretch that inner thigh. All right, let's come right back up. Woohoo! All right, let's hold on to the hip. We're going to turn that left foot out if you're not already there, and turn your hips to the left. Okay, so you're going to make sure that your hips are side by side for warrior one. Make any adjustments, bend your front knee. Okay, back calf, back knee, reach arms out, lift up. Breathing in, breathing out. Lock your fingers and lift. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, one more time. Inhale and exhale. All right, let's release the hands down. Let's come into downward dog again. Okay, so we're going to come into this nice downward dog. And then we come forward into our upward facing dog. So round your back a little bit, shoot your legs back. Tops of the feet press down, legs are strong, calves are active. Remember the calves pushing forward, but the knees are lifting. Lift your spine and come onto your knees and press back. But try to do the pulling of the child's pose rather than just leaning back, right? So your back ribs puff, your shoulder blades against your back, your hips are aligned, and you're going to pull your fingers forward and let that head come down into child's pose. So keep letting that head come down. Keep finding your breath. Your inhale and your exhale. All right, let's come on up to seated, you guys, and we're going to do a couple of more hip stretches, maybe a couple of shoulder stretches. So bring the feet together, up in the seat. And inner thighs open, find your alignment of your hips. And again, we want to open space inside the hips, but you want to keep your pelvis upright and hold the hips toward each other. So as you're lengthening the inner part of your legs, your hip bones press toward each other. So you kind of like feel them align. Maybe if you need to use your hands to do that, go ahead and do that. But pull your feet as close to your pelvis as you can and keep pressing the hips in and the legs out. Lift your spine, and breathe as you do this. So you're inhaling and exhaling. Collarbone is wide. Head is up. Inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to take that right leg out to the side. Just get a quick little stretch out. This foot can come up as close as you like. Straighten out through the leg. Use a strap if you want to, or just hold it anywhere on your leg. You're going to reach out. Again, do your best to keep the hips pressing and not slanting. And we're lengthening up and over to the side. So you're getting that shoulder reach. I want you guys to lift your scapula. Lift your shoulder blade. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. And then come up and turn to that leg. So you're going to turn to it. So you're going to get everything to turn. Your belly. If you need to, you move your leg in a little bit if you can't really get that turn. But I really want you guys to turn. And getting that leg straight, so pulling the kneecap up. Using your hands or your straps. Do your best to keep turning your hips and pressing them toward each other and squeezing the belly toward the legs. Do your best to stretch the back, lengthen your spine forward. And you're pulling out of here, you guys. You're pulling out of this part of your back. You want to really stretch out of your hip from there on that left side. Go a little bit longer, a little bit stronger. Inhale and exhale. All right. Let's rise up, lift, 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 and we'll change to the other side. All right, so side two, looking good. All right, leg is out to the side a bit. Doesn't have to be the maximum out to the side, but not in front of you. And again, if you need your hands to feel where your hips are, if your hips are turned back or one's, a little higher, just pull them in so that they stay aligned and we come over to the side. Okay, so you're gonna grab hold of your leg or your foot or your strap. And just keep in mind that you want those hips not to slant. You don't want your hips to drop out of alignment. Really want them pressing toward each other. You want to find breath, find length out of good posture, out of good alignment. So we inhale and exhale. The body's going to heal that way so nicely. And in the beginning, the muscles, if you're doing it aligning for the first time or you're starting to learn the alignment better, the muscles will feel tight or they'll feel a little sore because they're being pressed into a new place. All right, let's rise up. And we're going to turn. And again, keep the alignment, but you're turning. Again, move the leg if you need to. Turn everything. And then keep pressing the hips toward each other as you come forward. And again, you guys, you're stretching right out of here, right out of this hip, low back, QL, lumbar area of the back. And just keep pulling from there. Keep hugging the hips. Letting the head come down and breathing. So you don't pull and hold your breath. So you might be doing that right now. So just inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Find a little more length if you can. All right, let's release and come on in. Woo! Bring your legs both out in front of you. Awesome. Again, you're going to feel like your calves are lifting toward your shins. The kneecaps pulling up. Lift up tall. Use your strap if you need to. You're going to keep those hips aligned as you come forward. Reaching for the feet or your strap or your legs. Doesn't matter. You can hold your legs just fine. But just keep your right and left hip working toward each other. As you lengthen the lumbar part of your spine, lengthen your back. Let your head come down a little bit more. Go ahead and let your head come down. Now, if dropping your head hurts your lower back, then lift it a little bit. But you're going to work toward that. You're going to work toward stretching and keeping good flexibility. The youthful spine is a happy spine. Flexible spine. All right. And so we rise up and we're going to just release and bend the knees and open the feet. Just kind of rolling. I'm going to turn to the side for this so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. So you're going to roll your hips. Keep your heels anchored and roll your hips. And roll your hips. And then your knees are going to go to the right. Okay, your knees, and they're going to land to the right. And you're going to turn your whole body, keep those hips, and keep twisting to the right. Keep turning like you're going to lay down behind you. Okay, so you're going to twist and keep those hips aligned. Do your best not to get lazy with the hips. Keep them nice and strong. And continue to rotate and lengthen your spine. And keep twisting, maybe coming down to the floor if that's okay. Just kind of feel what's going on. Letting that back leg, that left leg roll in a little more. And then we'll come up and we'll go the other way. So we're going to come up and let the knees go to the left. Yep. And we'll turn as far as you can to the left. And again, keeping your hips really strong. And twist and lengthen. Twist and lengthen. Twist and lengthen. All right, you guys, let's come onto the back and lift your legs up. So you're going to lie down on your back, leg elevation. See how much time we have. Just a few, maybe. Maybe we can go a little longer today. I don't know. So shoulders back, legs up. You're going to hollow out your belly. And I want you guys to feel your hips. When you're on your back, feel your hips not only align with each other or hug into each other, but feel your right hip and right shoulder, left hip and left shoulder. So your hips might be kind of either off to the right side or off to the left side. Bring them into the center. If you have something like a pillow, cushion, blanket, or block to put under your hips to lift them, or your hands, do that. If you can, you're going to lift your hips a little bit, not a lot, but you're going to stretch out your lower back. Stretch out that lumbar part of your back. And once you lift your hips just a little, find the engagement of your hips again, right? Where they hug toward each other. And you're breathing in and breathing out. You can circle your ankles if you want, right? You can point and flex. Just kind of wiggle your toes, getting good movement and flexibility, blood flow, circulation. This is just very good for the immune system, all that awesome stuff, right? So even if you have something under your hips, you can keep it there if you want, but the bottoms of your feet are going to touch. The legs are going to come down to the ground. The knees are going to open in Supta Baddha Konasana. And we're going to, again, hug the hips in toward each other, right to left. And lengthen your inner thighs. Broaden your back. So your front ribs close down to the back ribs. Lock your fingers together and stretch your palms skyward right over your chest. Keep working your hips, feet, calves. And then reach the arms all the way over the head, letting your scapula lift, and turn your head to the left. Don't lean it, but actually turn it. And pull your chin toward your left armpit or left shoulder. And then turn your head center, so it's right in the center. And turn your head to the right, just kind of feeling this may feel a little intense for some of you guys, right? And then you're going to tuck your chin down toward your right arm for the shoulder. All right, let's release it back into the center. Bring the hands up, bring the legs up, hug your hips in. Feet are going to be apart. You're going to bring the arms down, come up into bridge pose. When you come up into bridge, this is where the hips are going to go wacky. This is where your hips are going to separate, and they're going to slant, and they're going to let go of their strength. So I want you guys to hug your hips in toward each other. Hug your hips. Do your best not to squeeze your sitting bones or your hamstrings toward each other, but make the pelvis actually narrow in, or the hip joint there, hugging into each other, and flatten out your belly. Knees shoot straight away. Chin is up, shoulders back, sides of the upper arms back, shoulder blades down the back. You guys are going to really pump your front ribs down to your back and see if you can activate your thighs toward each other. They don't touch, but it's like the quads and the hip flexors move in toward each other. The inner thighs move down. All right, slowly lower your back spine, one vertebrae at a time. Keep the shoulders back, keep the chin up. Keep breathing and tucking the knees into the chest. So you guys are going to hang out there for a little bit, just rolling your spine a little bit. And we're breathing. So we got a few minutes left, about 5 minutes. We'll come into happy baby pose. So you can go ahead and grab the bottoms of your feet, the pinky side, or you can grab your calves or your shins or your thighs, wherever you feel comfortable holding on. But hug those hips in again. Okay, hug them toward each other. And press your thighs and your knees to the ground. And inhale and exhale. Keep the chin up. Keep getting some weight into your legs. All right. And then we're going to take that left leg out, and using the strap or using your hands, holding the right foot leg straight up for hamstring stretch. Now, you guys, as we do this hamstring stretch, You definitely need to pay attention to those hips because that right hip that's in the air, that leg that's in the air, the hip will rise out of alignment. So if you don't have a strap, you know, you can hold on to the back of your leg like that, do that. Right, but I definitely want you guys to keep your hips pulled into each other and then feel like you are pushing your calf toward your shin and stretching it toward the heel and moving this kneecap into your thigh. So breathing in, breathing out. Keep feeling the hips strong. Keep feeling the stretch of the calf. A little more pull if you can of the calf. And then release the strap, bend the knee. We're going to come into rotation before we do the other side. So right arm out to the side. Hips lock into each other, right to left to right. Bring the right knee across and roll to the side of your left hip, the side of your left knee, the side of your left foot, the side of your left waist and rib cage, but keep your chest up, that left side, so that you can open up at the chest, keeping the hips strong, keeping breathing, lengthen to the spine. All right, let's come right back into the center and tucking the knees in. And we'll do the same on the other side. So right leg out, left leg out. Big stretch here, you guys. So again, using the strap, this is going to feel different, but I definitely want you to pay attention to your hips because we end up slanting the hips so that we can catch the foot or have the same extension. So if you have to bend your bottom leg like that to keep the hips aligned, go ahead and do that. But I want you guys to make sure that you are stretching the calf, right? So the calf pulls toward the shin. It's coming more forward, but the calf muscle pulls to the heel. Kneecap goes into the thighs, but again, most important is your hip alignment. You're breathing, breathing, breathing. Inhale and exhale and keep pulling the stretch. Again, remember our yoga practice is our intention, which is to pull the stretch of the calf, not where we actually are. Okay, so hips aligned. Good intentions of the stretch. 2 more breaths. All right, release that knee, bends, release the leg, arm out to the side, hips stay aligned, and bring that left leg across. So we're going to roll to the side of your right hip, side of your right knee, side of your right foot. Make sure the hips are working toward each other, side of the rib cage, but your chest is turning up. So you're not on the side of your chest. Your chest is up. And the hips stay aligned as you breathe in and breathe out. And then slowly release and let that go. All right, let's come right into the center, you guys, and just open up your back. So take a few moments here to widen your muscles in your back, widen your back ribs, widen the lumbar back all the way down to the sacrum. Bring your right leg out to the outside of your yoga mat, left leg out to the outside of the yoga mat. Roll the legs, let the hips just release and relax. Let the arms open, the palms come up, head is in the center. And just feel your breathing at your belly. We'll be here for a few minutes, just relaxing the belly. So soften the abdominal area on the outside and on the inside. Soften the right side and left side. Top and bottom. Continue to relax your feet, your fingers, your wrists, your ankles, knees, and hips. Let your lower back relax a little bit more, and the inner thighs relax. Drop your head weight into the ground. Shoulders, upper back, neck, jaw, tongue, throat. And just continue to scan the body for tension and let go. Before we come out of Shavasana, let your mind come to a place of gratitude. optimism. Mindset of gratitude, optimism. Right, and you can stay in Shavasana if you like, or you can come out. So feel free to stay, and if I lose you guys, thank you for joining. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Namaste.